Hey, you looking for a new home theater system? Yeah? No? Okay, how about a Louis Vuitton handbag? I got lots to do. You don't want that either. How about pictures of bald guys? You want to? No, you don't want that either. How about a video? Okay, well, clearly con artists are everywhere. In fact, the work of a con man or con woman is actually one of the oldest forms of performance art in the world. The term con is short for confidence, and confidence is exactly what was needed to pull off some of the biggest scams ever. In fact, confidence is an understatement, because these cons were so unbelievable in size that you'll almost think that those who perpetrated them were geniuses. So get ready, because here are the 10 biggest con artists of all time. Number 1 is the man who sold half of New York. George Parker was a New Yorker who, in the 1920s, attempted to sell some of New York's most iconic landmarks, and succeeded. Madison Square Gardens, the Statue of Liberty, and the Metropolitan Museum of Art were just a few locations that he would sell to wealthy tourists. But his favorite was the Brooklyn Bridge, which he sold twice a week for several years, one time for as much as $50,000. He made millions before the cops finally caught up with his fraudulent schemes, and in 1928 they locked him away for life in Sing Sing prison. Too bad that he couldn't convince anyone that he also owned the prison, because, at least he would have got a cell with a view. Number 2 is the 40-year-long hoax. Back in the 19th century, sisters Kate, Margaret, and Leah Fox had convinced the world that they possessed the powers to speak with ghosts. The girls would snap their fingers and spirits would respond by making rapping noises around them and answering their questions. The three took their show on the road for 40 years, becoming international stars, making huge money, and married rich. Later, the sisters revealed to the media that they had been cracking their toes and ankle joints to make the supernatural sounds. For that news story, they received $1,500, which they spent all on wine, and the three sisters all died a few years later, known as drunk fraudsters who went broke. I got a ghost, listen. Number 3 is Catch Me If You Can. The Leonardo DiCaprio film was actually based on a real-life con man, Frank Abagnale, who, in 1964, at the age of 16, posed as a pilot for Pan Am Airlines in order to catch free flights all over the world. But that wasn't it. He later pretended to be a doctor, then an attorney, and 6 other identities in total. Throughout this time, he also became a master forger of checks, defrauding banks of millions of dollars. He was finally arrested at the age of only 21 and served 5 years in an American prison before he was released. But believe it or not, after that, he actually started working for the FBI as a security consultant. Well, I guess if you can't beat him, join him. Number 4 is the false prophet. Since the 1980s, Benny Hinn has been running miracle crusades in stadium venues for tens of thousands of people and sometimes millions of miracle seekers hoping to be healed of an illness. You've probably seen him perform these rituals on TV or on YouTube, where he heals the sick through throwing his jacket at them or bopping them in the head. His ministry brings in an average of $100 million annually, and Benny spends these church donations on himself, including a $10 million mansion and a $36 million jet. Benny's con of having miraculous healing powers has since been proven to be a hoax, but the fact that he has avoided jail time or any real consequences for his dishonesty is the real miracle at work. Taking advantage of people that are sick for money. Douche. Number 5 is the holy thief. In the 1990s, New York rabbi Shalom Weiss of Brooklyn was responsible for the biggest insurance company collapse due to fraud in history. Weiss assembled a con man dream team made up of several other business owners and an army of lawyers. Then, Weiss bought the National Heritage Insurance Company and fleeced it for everything that it was worth, totaling, wait for it, $450 million. When the authorities finally took action in 2000, Weiss fled the country. Fortunately, he was caught and is now serving 845 years in prison, the longest sentence ever given for a white-collar crime. Number 6 is The Wolf of Wall Street. We have all seen the film, but what you might not know is that Jordan Belfort was a real person that was working on Wall Street in the early 1980s up to 1996. Becoming a wealthy stockbroker wasn't happening fast enough for Jordan, so he started up his own investment company known as, you know it, Stratton Oakmont. It was there that he implemented the infamous pump and dump scheme by buying extremely low stocks and selling them for at least double the price to not so savvy investors. At one time, he had over 1,000 stockbrokers working under him with over $1 billion in stock being sold until, well, you can only beat your chest and hum for so long before reality comes a-knocking. Jordan went to prison and is now responsible for paying restitution of $110 million to his defrauded clients, and to date, he's only paid back $11.6 million. If you want to learn more, watch the movie. It's a good one. Number 7 is the man who sold the Eiffel Tower. In 1925, conman Victor Lustig took a trip to France. The First World War had left the country in an economic crisis, and the upkeep of the Eiffel Tower was an expense that the city of Paris could no longer afford. So, when Victor read about this in the paper, he created fake government credentials and invited 6 scrap metal dealers to a secret meeting held in a hotel. He explained that the city was getting rid of the tower and was going to sell it as scrap metal to Andre Poisson, a gullible bidder, for $70,000. Surprisingly, Victor actually got away with this con because Poisson was too humiliated to notify the police. Then Victor tried selling it again, and although the buyer went to the police this time, Victor still evaded arrest. This guy's like the criminal Batman. Number 8 is the Ponzi King. In 1918, Charles Ponzi realized that there were coupons that could be redeemed for stamps in other countries. In his native Italy, these coupons cost way less than the amount the stamps sold for in America, so he bought them overseas and charged a 400% markup. Once this con was running smoothly, he started one of America's biggest Ponzi schemes where he would take on investors and simply spend their money on himself. In early 1920, he was earning $250,000 a day. For his hard work as a con man, Charles Ponzi's name became synonymous with the type of scheme, and he was arrested in August of 1920 and served only 14 years in prison. I gotta be honest, that's not that bad for all the money that he made. Not that I'm getting any ideas, but I'm just saying if you want to buy some stamps, you just hit me up. Number 9 is Enron. In 2000, the Enron Corporation stock was considered to be a really good investment, and CEO Jeffrey Skilling was raking in millions of dollars. With stock prices at an all-time high, the business was valued at $40 billion. All of this was, of course, mainly due to creative bookkeeping, money laundering, and insider trading. As it turned out, Enron had been hemorrhaging money for nearly a decade. They had just never bothered to tell the investors. 1 hour before the Enron scam went public, Jeffrey Skilling made his wife sell nearly $60 million worth of shares. He is currently serving a 14-year prison sentence, and the once successful Enron Corp is now known for being the largest bankruptcy case in human history. And number 10 is Bernard Madoff. For 50 years, Bernie Madoff operated one of the biggest and most elaborate Ponzi schemes in history, as well as the biggest case of accounting fraud in US history. The former chairman of NASDAQ suckered investors into forking over a total of $65 billion. But the worst part is that almost all of his victims were charity funds and institutions. Well, needless to say, Bernard isn't working on Wall Street these days. No, instead, at the age of 71, he was sentenced to 150 years in prison. He's set to be released in 2139. He gonna be dead. And now you're just a little bit smarter, so don't do anything that any of these people did. As always, my friends, if you enjoyed this, give it a like, and be sure to push the links in the description of this video, which will subscribe you to this channel as well as my vlog channel so that you never miss a video. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you guys soon. Peace.